Konnichiwa, my dudes. Welcome back to another video. So today's topic is pretty much surrounding the current controversy with Goblin Slayer. Now, the whole rape scene thing has gotten quite out of hand, and I wanted to focus on one aspect out of it that I think needs to be discussed. So with the rape scene, as we all know, there are a lot of people pretty much arguing about whether or not it was really needed in the anime. People are saying that the scene was unnecessary, or that because it's in there, that the whole anime itself is just too edgy and it's a bad anime because of it, and or that it just pretty much glorifies rape, which I gotta say, I don't see how you could come to that conclusion. I don't understand it, at least. And it's just gotten out of hand between the two varying or more varying arguing sides. Now, just with one of the points of it being glorified, I don't see it as that case. If anything, I think it does set the tone for the anime, which a lot of people are bringing up, and it just creates that overall feelings that you're supposed to have towards these monsters. You know, they're supposed to be these cruel, vicious, like vile scum of like these creatures. And I think having that scene with either with it or without it could have had the same message, but I think having it does elevate that, I guess, tension that you have, the kind of hatred that you have towards those monsters. And if anything, it also sets up this kind of mutual feeling or mutual motivation with the main character, with Goblin Slayer, because you both hate these creatures at the same time, and you kind of understand his motivation, understand why he's doing this, why it's only goblins that he wants to kill, or why he only spends most of his time killing them. I don't know. I don't see the whole point of people saying that it glorifies rape, which it obviously doesn't. During that entire scene, like, it was hard for me to watch as well. I don't think if you watch that scene you could feel like it was glorifying it or anything. Now, I will say this: while this whole work is of fiction, you know, that's one of the arguments that always comes up. It's a work of fiction. It doesn't contain any real girls or any real acts of this kind of violence or of this sexual harassment. But it's still a scene that depicts it. It still illustrates it in this medium, in the anime medium. And so some people are gonna have trouble watching that. Like, people are still gonna have problems viewing it and being okay with it, being comfortable enough to watch the anime. And so, of course, they just won't watch it because obviously it's not for them. Now, a lot of people are arguing against that, and I see these comments of people replying back to those who don't want to watch it, saying that they're weak or they're easily triggered. And I just see that as wrong. Like, it should be fine if they don't want to watch it. And one thing that I thought of is, like, it's compared to, for instance, in my case at least, I don't like watching anime with like gore or like horror or any like really bloodish kind of elements, like excessive blood and whatnot. And so if I see an anime and I know that that's going to be the content of it, I'm just not going to watch it. You know, it's the same thing with this. It still has these dark depictions of really harsh violence, sexual harassment, sexual violence, and all that. And I think if people don't want to watch that, if that's not to their taste, taste might be the wrong word here, but if that's not what they want in an anime, if that's something that they're uncomfortable with, it should be okay for them to skip it entirely. People shouldn't be arguing whether or not people should be watching this because it's quote unquote different from other from other fantasy anime. And if anything, it's not even their fault. This whole entire mess could have been avoided. The anime had no warning going into it. So apparently, if you just watch the anime from the start, there's no like overall warning as to what you're getting yourself into. Now, I went into this blind. I had no prior knowledge of the light novel, the manga, and I went into this blind. I knew it was going to be dark from what I've seen on media, but I didn't know how dark it would go to, the extent that it would get to. And so when I went into the anime and I saw that scene, I was shocked. I actually felt like helpless watching them encounter the goblins and get like massacred to hell, like Jesus Christ. I think this really does come down to it being the fault of these studios, the people licensing this anime. And then another concern that comes with it is for people who aren't watching this on a site that has it licensed, because obviously, sadly, there are going to be people who are watching it on other sites that don't have it legally, and those don't have the rate warnings that Crunchyroll had just put up, which, by the way, they didn't put up until like I think a few days before episode 2, or like it was just way later on after the whole entire mess escalated up. And it's just a huge fuck up on everyone's part here. This could have been entirely avoided with just that. And if anything, for people who did go into it blind, it just elevated their shock and their frustration with the scene or with the anime even more, because they went in expecting something like a lighthearted fantasy, like what we're used to, the shit that we always get like every season, tons of it. But what happened was you went into it blind, and then you get this big like shit like dropped right in front of you, and you're surprised. And of course, because people didn't know what kind of stuff it was going to be, especially if it was rated PG and people saw that, the whole thing just escalated. Not only the anime, but the whole fucking situation with this one scene escalated to fucking sky heights. And it just sucks that this is happening. It sucks that people are arguing with each other over this, and that breaks my heart, because this is a medium that we should all be enjoying. This is a medium that we can all come together and just talk about, and we should just be able to enjoy the anime that we want to watch. If there's someone who can't handle the content of the show, no one should try and like force them to watch it, or no one should, because it's superior taste or something like that. If it's because it's different to other stuff and other people should be watching it, I don't think that's the case. I don't think that should be the case. So yes, if you can't watch Goblin Slayer, like, by all means, go ahead and skip it. I won't blame you. Personally, I did enjoy it, and I'm excited to see what else happens. And that's I don't know. That's pretty much all I got to say.